CBS.com. We'll be back here at 6.
I'm Anthony Mason. Terror in the UK. British police make more arrests in the wake of the Glasgow airport attack. The latest on the investigation as authorities see clear links between Glasgow and the London car bombs. Terminal anxiety in the United States. Security is tightened on the ground and more sky marshals are assigned to transatlantic flights. And honoring Diana, an all-star concert in London in memory of the princess nearly 10 years after her death.
This is the CBS Evening News with Russ Mitchell.
Good evening. Russ has the night off. The United Kingdom remains on critical alert tonight, the highest possible warning level. Authorities here are taking action as well, and here is the latest. Police have now made 5 arrests and have searched neighborhoods in both England and Scotland. Investigators say there are clear links between the terrorism in the UK and Al-Qaeda. And the U.S. says it is putting more sky marshals on flights to Europe. We have a team of correspondents standing by tonight, and we begin with Mark Phillips in Glasgow. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Anthony. Well, back to normal is not a phrase being heard much around here tonight, even though Glasgow Airport behind me has reopened for business. But it's police business, trying to find out who was behind these attacks. That's the priority here. The burnt-out hulk of a car at Glasgow Airport shows how close this attack came to disaster. Forensic specialists were examining it today. The car burst into flames but did not explode when 2 men tried to drive it into the terminal. The men are now in custody, one in critical condition with burns, the other being questioned. Police followed their leads into a house not far from the airport where the 2 attackers were thought to have been living. What they discovered led them to conclude that the 3 attempted attacks in Britain over the past days are connected.
The links between the 3 attacks are becoming ever clearer. We are pursuing many lines of inquiry, and I'm absolutely confident that in the coming days and weeks we will be able to gain a thorough understanding of the methods used by the terrorists, of the way in which they planned their attacks, and of the network to which they belong.
After being closed for a day, Glasgow's airport reopened, but under strict security. No vehicles were allowed near the terminal. Passengers had to line up for hours waiting to be called for their flights. Think you'll make it?
No. We're all still here and alive, that's the main thing.
By luck and the apparent incompetence of the would-be bombers, the toll in these attacks has been inconvenience and not a lot worse. But the heightened state of security betrays a fear that this wave of attacks may not be over. Fear as well in Scotland's Muslim community. The bombers, officials say, weren't from here, but local Muslims are furious that they'll be blamed.
Frankly, angry, seething with anger that these people keep hijacking our faith. They keep defining us by terrorism. And I want to talk about the good things. The good things are that this was a very, very narrow escape, and that police say they have a gold mine of evidence to work with. Anthony.
Mark Phillips in Glasgow, thanks. That gold mine of evidence is now being scrutinized in what's become a nationwide investigation. Sheila McVicker is in central London tonight with the latest on that.
Captured on a mobile phone, the early morning highway arrest of 2 suspects, a man and a woman, both in their mid-20s, detained hundreds of miles from Glasgow. With Britain's threat level at critical, this is a fast-moving and now countrywide investigation. Tonight, police are continuing to search houses near Glasgow Airport, the mid-country properties of the couple arrested this morning, and 2 addresses in Liverpool. A 5th man, also in his mid-20s, was arrested there. No one has been charged yet. This morning, 5 days into the job, Britain's new Prime Minister urged vigilance with this chilling warning.
I think we've got to recognise what the nature of the threat that we're dealing with is. Al-Qaeda and people who are related to Al-Qaeda.
Sources close to the investigation also tell CBS News that very quickly the police have realized that the massive car bombs found in London on Friday morning and the would-be suicide bomb jeep that plowed into Glasgow Airport have been rigged by the same bomb maker using techniques copied from Iraq.
Yeah, it looks as though that they are copying. What they haven't been able to do technically is to get the detonating device to actually cause an explosion with the fuel. But they've effectively done that in Iraq, and I think it's only a matter of time before they perfect it over here. But so far it hasn't worked.
And all 3 bombs failed to detonate because of the same technical mistake, a quote, almost certain signature, says one security source. Tonight, the challenge for the security services is to find the bomb maker before he and his accomplices can strike again.
We've got big problems on our hands, and they're going to get better and they're going to get more technical, and it's imperative that the forces of law and order in this country get the same. They get better as well. They need to.
Law enforcement and security sources have been suggesting that it was almost certain that these perpetrators were homegrown British-born terrorists. Some very disturbing news this evening. Reports that at least some of those in custody are in fact foreign nationals from various Middle Eastern countries, and that 2 of those in custody are hospital doctors. Anthony?
Sheila, if they are in fact foreigners, what's the significance of that?
It does raise the prospect of a long-term sleeper cell embedded in this country. People leading professional, responsible lives turn to terrorism at the whim of someone who has ordered them to carry out these attacks. It raises fresh questions, too, about why and how British intelligence missed them.
Sheila McVicker in London, thanks. On this side of the Atlantic, the ongoing terror investigation in Britain is already affecting U.S. air travelers and casting a shadow over the president's meeting with Russian President Putin. Joey Chen is at the Bush family vacation home in Kennebunkport, Maine.
On holiday, but not getting away from work, the president kept up on the latest from overseas. Other July 4th travelers saw the impact of heightened tensions at airports across the country, where the threat level stands at orange, the second highest. But Homeland Security Chief Michael Chertoff found himself defending the decision not to raise the nation's overall threat level in an attempt to balance calm with caution.
We've had a number of al-Qaeda leaders quite publicly talking about how they want to carry out their threats against the West. So given that and given the history that we've had over past summers with attacks in Britain, I think we were clearly focused on this as a possibility.
Meanwhile, the president shifted his focus to other international hotspots. Late this afternoon, sending his father out as the welcome party for the arrival of Russian President Vladimir Putin, a bid to shore up what had been a first-name friendship.
And my message will be, Vladimir, I call him Vladimir.
But those ties have soured, and both sides dismissed any chance of a major breakthrough during Putin's brief visit. Critics see that as evidence that the American president's effort at a personal touch has failed.
I think personal theatrics, and particularly this sort of feigned personal friendship, should follow some significant strategic accommodation and not be a substitute for it. And it's particularly dangerous if it is a substitute which then one of the sides exploits in order to gain a freer hand. And that's what's been happening.
It's a beautiful evening here in Maine, a beautiful evening for a cruise, which is exactly what the president's former and current have been out on this evening. But it also underscores the point that this is a very short trip, just enough time for a little R&R. The fence mending may take longer, Anthony.
Joey Chen in Maine, thanks very much. The use of a vehicle as a terrorist weapon at a British airport has raised alarm among airport security officials here. Tony Gaida is at Newark Airport tonight covering that part of the story.
At airports all across the country today, tighter security was evident long before travelers reached their terminals. Police at Los Angeles International stepped up random searches of all vehicles. At New York's LaGuardia, an unattended car drew special attention. But any traveler could tell you the show of extra police at airport perimeters was not the norm. And the norm, says one aviation expert, is not reassuring.
U.S. airports are wide open on the non-secure side before you go through security. I mean, how many airports really do a pass-through every day, every hour, every couple hours to look for strange things?
The attack on Glasgow's airport was on the minds of at least one family flying today to their holiday vacation out of Newark Airport. The Geffens wondered if those concrete barriers, like those erected outside office buildings and landmarks, might make it secure at curbside.
Anything you can do to secure barricades, extra security, extra police would help, definitely.
But security experts disagree. Jim Bucknam was the senior advisor to former FBI Chief Louis Freeh.
Well, I think security has to be a multi-layered approach. Physical barriers in and of themselves are not enough.
Not when thousands of cabs and cars and limousines and buses arrive hourly outside airport terminals everywhere.
What we don't want to do is, after this event in Glasgow, make it impossible to get to an airport. In that case, we give the terrorists what they want.
And if what they want, says Jim Bucknam, is to blow up an airport terminal, terrorists can get around any security, especially if they're willing to die doing it.
They only have to be right 1 out of 100 times, whereas law enforcement and the intelligence community, the private sector, has to be right 100% of the time.
A noble goal, but not possible. Security experts agree, not without solid intelligence. Unless agents can infiltrate terrorist groups to find out what they're planning before they act, no miles of concrete barriers or stepped-up searches of people and vehicles can ensure our safety. By the way, Anthony, that white car behind me has been parked outside this terminal unattended for about an hour and a half. Seems curious under these circumstances.
Curious indeed. Tony Guida reporting from Newark Airport. And still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, flood victims forced to leave their homes in the nation's heartland.
If you think you have a hearing loss but aren't sure, you need to know about a free exam that's available through Beltone. It's quick and easy and uses a tiny high-tech camera to look inside your ear. So call or visit Beltone today.
I'm Edward Shellman. I own S&H wastewater system. If your septic system fails, it will either back up into the yard, into the house. It's going to get expensive, and it's going to get expensive fast.
Rid-X uses bacteria and enzymes to help prevent septic backups.
I would recommend you use Rid-X once a month.
My family really keeps me on the go. That's why it's important to have strong, healthy bones. So I treat my osteoporosis with Boniva, just 1 pill a month to help prevent fractures. Studies show after 1 year on Boniva, 9 out of 10 women had better bone density. I know I did. And unlike weekly treatments like Fosamax, you only need Boniva once a month. With all I want to do, I'm glad Boniva is working for me.
You should not take Boniva if you have low blood calcium, severe kidney disease, or cannot sit or stand for at least 60 minutes. Follow dosing instructions carefully. Stop taking Boniva and tell your doctor if you experience difficult or painful swallowing, chest pain, or severe or continuing heartburn, as these may be signs of serious upper digestive problems.
Look, I've got this one body and this one life, so I'm doing my best to build strong, healthy bones. It's too important, so don't wait another week.
Ask your doctor for a free trial offer of once monthly Boniva now, or call 1-800-4-BONIVA. There's only one.
Are you trying to lose weight? Me too, it's really hard. But I've got some help. My friend Beth, the Ally Weight Loss Program, and Walgreens.
And now Ally is available at Walgreens. No prescription necessary.
With the Ally Weight Loss product, a low-fat diet, and exercise, we can lose up to 50% more weight than with dieting alone.
Ally is the only FDA-approved non-prescription weight loss product available. Find out if Ally's right for you. Visit Walgreens.com for details.
I'm Karen Ross, and this is my story. I love to knit. I do use my hands a lot, and I am very active. The only hard part I have knitting is when my arthritis kicks in. When I try to leave, it was like the answer to my prayers. It really was. I really didn't think that an over-the-counter tablet would give me the kind of relief that I was looking for, but boy, was I wrong. It made a difference in all the things that I am now able to do that I couldn't do before. My life is good, and Aleve makes it better. It really does.
Blue sky smiling at me, nothing but blue sky.
Today, there's a fuel that, when paired with advanced diesel engines, will help reduce truck emissions by 90%. And that means bluer skies and cleaner air for all of us. Introducing new ultra-low sulfur diesel. From the people who bring you oil and natural gas. Learn more at energytomorrow.org.
In parts of this country, it seems as if the rain will never end. 2 weeks of relentless downpours in 3 states have put rivers over their banks and flooded hundreds of homes. Hari Srinivasan is in Wichita Falls, Texas with the latest. Hari?
Good evening, Anthony. The high waters continue to threaten this region. They're already responsible for about a dozen deaths. At least 2 people are missing and hundreds of people are homeless. At least one of those drownings happened here in Wichita Falls, Texas, where, as you can see around me, the Wichita River has completely inundated this east side neighborhood.
Fire officials say they've made at least a half-dozen rescues today of people who chose to stay even when the waters began to rise. Even guests and workers at the local Holiday Inn had to be ferried to safety. The floodwaters were fed by weekend rains and the release of water from an overflowing dam upstream in Oklahoma.
I hate to leave if I don't just have to, and I was waiting for my daughter to come. She will be here tomorrow to take me.
In Kansas, where evacuations were still voluntary this weekend, Governor Kathleen Sebelius declared a state of disaster in 12 counties. There, 20 inches of rain in 60 hours doused the worst-hit area. Both the Wichita and Fredonia rivers surged above their highest recorded levels. In Oklahoma, large stretches of highway were impassable because of storm damage.
Some of them will load up and go, and some people are going to wait till the last minute.
Here in northern Texas, hundreds fled their homes near the overflowing banks of the Wichita River on Saturday. In other parts of the state, some residents are being allowed to return to homes where water had risen as high as 4 feet.
Yeah, we do have electricity.
People cleaning out the debris in Parker County are keeping a close eye on the Brazos River, which is expected to swell again after a dam upstream loosens floodgates.
I've never seen anything like that before.
President Bush declared Texas a major disaster area on Friday after a week of storms battered the state. In the forecast, more rain from northern Texas to Missouri.
And it doesn't take much of that rain to actually cause these floods because the ground is already so saturated from the past 2 weeks of precipitation. Anthony?
Hari Srinivasan in Texas, thanks. In what would be a record for a Democratic candidate, Senator Barack Obama said today he raised another $32.5 million for his presidential campaign in the second quarter, which ended yesterday. Obama has now raised more than $58 million this year. Frontrunner Hillary Clinton hasn't announced her totals yet. And just ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, more on the UK terror alert, an expert's view of what's ahead.
Tennis Serenity underwear has always kept you protected, feeling fresh, and enjoying life. So coming up with our new look was only natural.
For pain across your whole back, Icy Hot has it covered.
New Icy Hot Extra Large Patch starts icy to dull the pain, then hot to relax it away. For up to 8 hours of relief across your whole back.
Icy Hot has it covered.
Icy Hot XL. XL relief for XL pain.
Terracotta.
Stone. Bermuda.
York's new Affinity Series air conditioning systems are sleek, quiet, and efficient.
Jet black.
And they come in a choice of colors that are as distinctive as you are.
Champagne.
Because people like color. The new beautiful Affinity Series from York.
It fuels our lives and creates the products we depend on. It powers our workforce. It brings us home and gives us warmth. It lets us travel the earth and reach for the sky. Vital for life, too precious to waste. Oil and natural gas. Together, let's use it wisely. Learn more at energytomorrow.org.
Hour after hour. Non-narcotic Lunesta can give you the full night's sleep you've been looking for. To get a full 7 to 8 hours of restful sleep, talk to your doctor. Lunesta helps you fall asleep quickly, so take it right before bed. Be sure you have at least 8 hours to devote to sleep before becoming active. Until you know how you'll react to Lunesta, you should not drive or operate machinery. Do not take Lunesta with alcohol. Most sleep medicines carry some risk of dependency. Side effects may include unpleasant taste, headache, drowsiness, and dizziness. When you need a full night of peaceful sleep, leave the rest to Lunesta.
And now for context on this weekend's developments in Britain, we're joined in London by Crispin Black, a former British intelligence analyst and currently a private consultant. Mr. Black, we've got very limited information about the terrorists, but from what we have heard, what can we conclude at this point?
I think we know two major things about these people. As the British Prime Minister said, they're likely to have been inspired by Al-Qaeda and its worldview, even if they don't actually take orders from Al-Qaeda. I think the other really important thing we know is that this group, for whatever reason, isn't particularly competent or even energetic at delivering their attacks effectively. 3 attacks, none of which have really managed to be pulled off properly.
If, as you say, all 3 of these attacks were bungled, as we know, can we take any comfort from the fact that they're not particularly good at this?
I think we can take comfort. I think there are days when terrorists deliver attacks and cause us great grief and fear and sadness, but there are other days when they seem unable, for whatever reason, to press them home effectively. This attack is also particularly interesting, one of the London attacks, because one of the fully primed, ready-to-go car bombs wasn't intercepted by our intelligence services, wasn't intercepted by the Special Air Service or the Blue Seals or whoever it is. This fully primed car bomb was towed away by London's traffic wardens, and I don't think that that is the kind of event that proper full-on jihadist terrorists look on with much favour.
At the same time, the British police are carrying out searches across the country, homes in Liverpool, other cities, as well as Glasgow and London.
Yeah.
Do we get a sense here of a pretty extensive infrastructure, perhaps?
We're dealing with an organised cell, even if its expertise hasn't been particularly impressive. Typically, an Islamist cell, or indeed any other terrorist cell, the IRA or the same, would have about 5 core members and maybe others plus in a kind of orbital role, helping with some of the smaller tasks. So my guess is that we're looking for a ballpark figure of between 10 and 15 people.
Crispin Black, formerly with British intelligence. Thanks very much. And coming up on tonight's CBS Evening News, high security and top-name stars at the concert for Diana.
I got up this morning, my knees were bad again. So I took Bayer, and that was that.
Genuine Bayer aspirin. Painkiller. Lifesaver.
I expect to keep playing.
Bayer. Expect wonders.
When you're constipated, harsh stimulant laxatives can cause cramps. And cramps can give you a bad day. Philips caplets don't have harsh stimulants, so you get relief overnight without cramps. Relief feels better with Philips.
If you have a history of smoking and breathing problems, it could be COPD, which includes chronic bronchitis and emphysema. Discover Spiriva, the only once-daily inhaled maintenance prescription treatment for COPD. Spiriva keeps airways open to help you breathe better for a full 24 hours. And it's not a steroid. Spiriva does not replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms. Tell your doctor about your medicines, including eye drops and illnesses like glaucoma, urinary and prostate problems. These may worsen with Spiriva. The most common side effect is dry mouth. Others include constipation and problems passing urine. If you have vision changes or eye pain, your breathing suddenly worsens, you get hives or your throat or tongue swells, stop taking Spiriva and contact your doctor. Spiriva is one of many treatment options to consider with your doctor. So make a habit of breathing better with Spiriva.
Keeping a team of rowdy 20-year-olds in check, Bill is a formidable man. But he was no match for something smaller than a bead of sweat. It KO'd him so fast he didn't even see it coming. It was a clot. Like Bill, if you've been hospitalized with heart-related chest pain or a certain type of heart attack, what doctors call ACS, chances are you've had a clot. But now, Bill's doctor is helping increase Bill's protection against heart attack or stroke by putting Bill on Plavix. Plavix, taken with other heart medicines, helps provide greater protection against heart attack or stroke than other heart medicines alone by helping keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots.
If you have a stomach ulcer or other condition that causes bleeding, you should not use Plavix. When taking Plavix alone or with some medicines, including aspirin, the risk of bleeding may increase. To minimize this risk, always talk to your doctor before taking aspirin or other medicines with Plavix, especially if you've had a stroke. Additional rare but serious side effects could occur.
Ask your doctor about Plavix today, because no matter how formidable you are, you're no match for a dangerous clot.
Fans and performers ignored security jitters in London today to celebrate the memory of Princess Diana. She would have been 46 today. And as we hear from Richard Roth, her royal sons threw her a birthday party and broadcast it to 500 million people around the world.
Outside London's Wembley Stadium, in the stepped-up security, there was the unavoidable reminder of Britain's current anxiety over terrorism.
It's a little bit funny.
But washing over 63,000 people inside were mostly reminders of other times, in a 6-hour-long festival of music and performers that could have been described as your mother's kind of concert. In fact, it was meant to be their mother's kind of concert. Diana's sons organized it to pay her tribute, to celebrate her life 10 years after her death on what would have been her 46th birthday.
This evening is about all that our mother loved in life. Her music, her dance, her charities, and her family and friends.
Prince William's younger brother, though, did strike a contemporary chord with a salute to his army regiment serving without him in Iraq.
But to you and everybody else in operations at the moment, we'd both like to say, stay safe.
Harry's girlfriend, Chelsea Davy, was at his side. William was dateless, though his ex, Kate Middleton, was in the crowd. And according to some in the know, may be back in the picture.
Yo, we only got 7 minutes, but we're gonna rip this stage in half. Let's go!
With about 24 acts, there was something for every taste. Kanye West came on stage with a shot of caffeine. Joss Stone kicked off her shoes.
Make some noise for Princess Diana, y'all!
And rapper P. Diddy put some rapture in a crowd that was ready for it.
Turn back the hands of time. Us in the six, shot the new closing kits.
Elton John ended the concert for Diana, but the finale came simply in the words of her sons.
This is how she would once be remembered. Thank you and good night.
Richard Roth, CBS News, London.
And we'll be right back.
Are aches and pains still keeping you up? Here's a nice surprise. Advil PM gives you a better night's sleep than Tylenol PM because you'll spend less time lying awake with annoying aches and pains and more time asleep. Tonight, switch to Advil PM. Less time awake, more time asleep. Now try new Advil PM liquid gels to rush real liquid relief where it hurts and ease you to sleep.
I'm Edward Shellman. I own a company called S&H Wastewater Systems. If your septic system fails, it will either back up into the yard, into the house. And had this system been maintained properly, this wouldn't have happened.
Rid-X uses 100% natural bacteria and enzymes to break down hard-to-dissolve waste, even paper, to help keep your septic system operating efficiently and prevent backups between pumpings.
By the time they have to call me, there isn't a cheap fix anymore. It's going to get expensive, and it's going to get expensive fast. I would recommend you use Rid-X once a month to maintain your septic system.
Updating our top story tonight, British police have arrested 5 people in connection with yesterday's airport attack in Scotland. Officials say the UK terrorist attack has clear links to al-Qaeda, and more U.S. sky marshals are being put on flights to Europe. And that's the CBS Evening News. Later on CBS, 60 Minutes and actor Russell Crowe. Tomorrow on The Early Show, the latest on the British terrorism alert. For now in New York, I'm Anthony Mason. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Russell Crowe is known for his acting talent, his temper, and for speaking his mind.
So that's all I had left to hit him with.
Which is what he does on 60 Minutes tonight.
CBS News. Experience you can trust.
Next on CBS 2 News at 6. It's hot, it's dry. Local firefighters have a very busy day. Folks from the coast to the desert sweat it out.
Yes, indeed, sizzling temperatures all across the Southland, and it's only going to get hotter. I've got your full forecast coming up next.
We also have a developing story in Oregon where the search for a local priest and his friend is over tonight.
Plus the latest on the terrorist threats in Britain, those stories, plus Steve Hartman with sports.
It's all next on CBS 2 News at 6.
vehicles come together that sets us apart. Now,